just as I was counting out OpenAI because Microsoft was making moves to diversify away from them. Their SOAR got nuked over the weekend because they're doing some third-party IP mitigation. They just announced this massive new computing deal with AMD. Now, AMD has been a little bit behind in the game in terms of things because, of course, Nvidia has been the one that everybody's been paying attention to, and AMD was not really in consideration as much. I guess they have a new way to bring their computing stuff forward because these processors are super important to be getting zillions of them out there for the AI revolution out there. And so OpenAI made this giant deal with AMD to, of course, get themselves further ahead of the game. Interesting stuff right here, and AMD's stock prices have gone through the roof as a result. So please hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all of the AI news out there. They have a 5-year agreement that will challenge Nvidia's market dominance and gives OpenAI a 10% of AMD if it hits milestones for chip deployment. So OpenAI and chip designer Advanced Micro Devices announced a multi-billion-dollar partnership to collaborate on AI data centers that will run on AMD processors, one of the most direct challenges to the industry leader, Nvidia. Under the terms of the deal, OpenAI committed to purchasing 6 gigawatts worth of AMD's chips, that's just huge, starting with the MI450 chip next year. The ChatGPT maker will buy the chips either directly through its cloud computing partners, and AMD chief Lisa Su said in an interview on Sunday that the deal would result in tens of billions of dollars in new revenue for the chip company over the next half-decade. The two companies didn't disclose the plan of the expected overall cost, but AMD said it cost tens of billions of dollars per gigawatt of computing capacity. OpenAI will receive warrants for up to 160 million AMD shares, roughly 10% of the company, at 1 cent per share, awarded in phases if OpenAI hits certain milestones for deployment, and AMD's stock price also has to increase for the warrants to be exercised. And shares of this opened at 33% higher Monday morning. If you look at it, very, very flat for a while with AMD. A little bit of a climb up into August, and then boom, just a massive spike over the last day that led us right here. Now, it dropped a little bit as people got too exuberant. So what happens with stock prices is they get way exuberant. They put like sell limits on things that are automated, and then it dropped back down, as you can see. But they still are sitting at 28% increase over this writing. So that was a big deal right there. So this is a huge, huge deal for OpenAI and AMD. A lot of AI's growth depends on computing processing power, and these data centers are just getting huge, and they need more and more and more of them as more people adopt the technology, and also as the technology gets better, because as it gets better and creates movies and creates just higher complex code and complex things, it needs to have that computing power to go along with it. Nvidia has been the only one that really has been much of a challenge for that. And of course, they're maxed out. And they've said that they're maxed out of even orders over the next like 5-10 years, which is why their stock prices have been so crazy this entire time. But AMD lagged behind. They seem to not be able to get anywhere with any of these companies. And Nvidia was winning for a long, long time because of that. Now, for Nvidia, you've just seen a constant, steady growth that's just been going across things for the entire year, 34% year to date. So they've grown about the same amount as AMD grew overnight here, but it is all about AI chips. These AI chips and what's being deployed with them are what's growing both of these companies, and it's huge. Now, on the other side of things, they are saying there's a giant AI bubble that's happening. They think it's a $1 trillion tech bubble, much like the .com stuff, that a lot of this stuff is not actually making the money that is warranted at that level, and that's propping up a lot of companies. And there's a ton of investment into this stuff because it's very exciting. It's new technology. The tech stocks do get overhyped compared to things like that. But if all these companies are buying these chips, the revenue's there. It's not like it's going to change or anything like that. It just depends on if OpenAI, if Claude, if Anthropic and these companies are actually going to be using AI as more than like little image generators for fun memes and of course for email, drafting. They need a little more than that to help people out there. I think that the future is bright for it, and there's a lot to be done. I actually tested out AI over the weekend to do a new thing where I was looking at financial opportunities and which financial opportunity is better, like buying some real estate or actually sticking with some safe investments that I have. And I actually did a comparative analysis and showed that the real estate market right now, it's actually better to stick with the financial stuff that I've got. And of course, you got to plug in your specific details. I would always check it against other AI. So if you get an answer on Grok, check it with ChatGPT or Claude and check those answers to make sure that it didn't hallucinate, because sometimes it does screw up and make up things. But AI is pretty good at math, it turns out. So it usually is pretty good, and actually I compared both of them and it came up with the same answer. That's usually a good sign right there. Now, that's not financial advice, but it is something you could tool around with as an AI sort of thing that helps you right here. This is the news of the day. Let me know what you think about this. Is AMD going to become a competitor with Nvidia and actually skyrocket, or is this just a one-off small thing? Let me know in the description below. Hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.